Hello, my name is Lucas, this is Bit of Lit, and I'm here to talk about Truth of the Divine by Truth of the Divine, a novel by Lindsay Ellis, which is the second in the Numena series, which is the sequel to Axiom's End, which is her first novel, much lauded, much praised. I believe last year I even made a video praising it with just a few critiques. And this novel is set in 2007, 2008, into the Bush administration, and on to the beginning of the Cheney administration. God save us all. It is quite interesting, politically speaking, what's going on in the novel, because all of Earth knows about Cora's exploits, or at least aliens, which we learned a lot about with Cora's exploits, so to speak, in Axiom's End, with Ampersand and everything else. And Cora acts as an intermediary with Ampersand for the government. And she's got these dreams, and she meets another character, Kave. She has a bit of a relationship with him. There's some sex scenes, and I hate reading sex scenes personally, so that was annoying, but maybe other people will find it okay. The main conflict of this story, well, there's quite a lot going on actually, but politically speaking, the main conflict is there's an up-and-coming senator who has quite a few ideas about extending human rights and personhood to aliens, because humans now know that they are not the only life forms in the universe or galaxy. And there needs to be a change in the tide, so to speak, of what the political ramifications of meeting other intelligent life means, and what do we do about that within our law systems and that kind of stuff. I think all of that is actually really very cool, fascinating. I really like that direction. I also really like the sort of op-eds and emails and articles and text message parts that flesh out what other characters are thinking, or that we never meet, or the ones that we do meet, what they're thinking a little bit more. I think those choices were effective and very good, and I would have to say that they were my favorite parts. As far as the rest of the book, well, there's a whole lot that happens, but the rest of the action, anything that's not like directly the political aspects of the book, I'm not that interested in at all in any way. It does not work for me. And yeah, I was quite frustrated reading it. Like, go back to the stuff I like, which is slightly tainted by some of the things I don't like, but I still like that part enough to be okay with it. Anyway, the issues that I have with the book are abundant. I don't like the voice of the narrator, because it sounds exactly like Lindsay Ellis, and that's not necessarily against the author, it's or her voice, but I'm so used to hearing this kind of rhetorical style, I suppose, in Lindsay's videos, and now I'm reading it, and I feel like I'm just reading a script of a video, and that tone and her sense of humor and this kind of stuff is okay in a video, but completely does not work for me in written form at all. It also, we don't really have the same sense of humor either, so that does not work for me as well, but I don't mind it in the videos. But in the book, it just doesn't, it annoys me. I guess because it takes me longer to read, probably. But that's just my own personal issue. You know, if you've seen her videos and you like her sense of humor, then I think you'll be just fine. Um, or if her sense of humor is your style, then you'll be okay. There are a tremendous amount of pop culture references and a few cliched phrases used, and it feels a little bit lazy in some respects. It does make complete sense because it is, 2007, 2008 in America. I mean, of course, these kind of things would be referenced, and people might talk about them and make like. But then again, it like this also makes me think that it's just Lindsay Ellis telling the story, and I know she wrote the story, but I feel like better authors know how to create a new voice for the narrator. Now, maybe if Lindsay is the narrator, okay, that's confusing, but I don't know, man. I'm being really nitpicky here. There's some there's some like nice elements where people are extremely respectful, and in a way like showing like, look at how great social interactions could be if we were more respectful during sex, for example. I don't like reading sex scenes, but it was nice to see there was some respect shown there in these intimate moments. But then it continues to other things, and it does sort of feel like I'm being pulled away from the story, so that a point about how social interactions could or should be, there's a moment where a character asks, do you hug? Which is a very good question to ask to respect boundaries. But it does sort of feel kind of strange in a way, just because of these small moments where I feel like I'm being pulled to the side so that a point can be made. There is this other part, a big part, well, it's just a page or two, but about Cora. In the first book, she had some questions about Ampersand's gender, and she didn't mention anything about it to him at first. She just kind of thought about it, and then I think it was like, I wonder, about this alien's gender and what that's like in their culture and this kind of stuff. Questions for later, something like that. And then finally in this book, she sort of confronts him about it, and this scene really pulled me from the story and made me feel like a political point is being made to me, one that I already agree with, so it's especially annoying to me. I guess if I didn't agree with it, I'd be even more annoyed, actually. But it's really great to see, someone being respectful, wanting to be respectful of pronouns and this kind of stuff, to be more inclusive and this kind of stuff, to people and their gender identity and that. Cool, I can get down with that. There is this moment where the term it, the pronoun it, is used sort of in reference to aliens and to Ampersand, and Cora wants to know, are you male, female? I mean, what's your gender? He, she, they, whatever. Z, I don't know other non-binary pronouns, but anyway, Ampersand, I think, really very interesting decision by Lindsay that does pull me back into the story. It feels like it was coming apart a little bit to make a point, but then it comes right back. Ampersand is not particularly interested in this because he's an alien, and this particular thing for his species, gender identity, for example, does not quite fit because he's got certain characteristics that are predominantly found in females of his species and males of his species, but he's not like intersex or something like that. I think it's just like, for this species, gender identity it doesn't work. So he's not interested, like, it doesn't matter to him. And I think that is a really smart decision, but then by Lindsay Ellis, and it brings me back into the story and makes me, interested where this is going to go. And then Cora keeps pushing the point, which is what annoys me, because then it's going back from the story. And it also makes me think, like, he said he doesn't mind. And I just, like, in my head, I think, if someone, if someone says, these are my preferred pronouns, okay, if you're a respectful person, you will use those pronouns, this kind of thing. If someone says they don't mind, I feel like you'll just drop the case. You already know. And it's okay. They won't be offended. In this case, the alien won't be offended because gender does not work. But Cora keeps pushing the point, and I just feel like, why? This scene just makes me think we're trying to promote gender inclusivity, and yet Cora's keep like, hey, no, tell me what. I guess in this way, Cora's maybe not as respectful as, she's a bit frustrating that way, so maybe I can forgive it in that sense. But then it ends in a kind of funny way, where Ampersand is like, well, then I guess just call me he, because it's better if I'm masculine and more of the dominant type, and then people will perceive you as the feminine side and be the submissive one and that kind of thing. And Cora's like, I forgot what she said exactly, but it was something to the effect like, well, he learned something about our human race, at least. I just thought that was kind of funny, that he took this terrible wrong lessons, or terrible lessons about gender. I think that part's funny. I don't know if it's meant to be, but I just think it's funny the alien is saying that. What I do think would have been, I don't know if it would have been more preachy or less preachy. What I think would have made more sense is this book is about personhood, and there is that moment where it is used, right? If Cora could have explained more in detail, instead of, it's important to humans, so I want to know more in detail about how we've got this big political issue, and the ramifications of that are very important, and human supremacy is on the rise now. If she would have explained the use of it and the intricacies and quirks of that terminology in reference to another legal person in this case, right? Because the novel is about legal personhood, and how this can be sort of dehumanizing. Well, not sort of, but it can be dehumanizing, depersonalizing. I don't know if that's the right word. Dehumanizing, at least. And this is about human rights extended to all persons possibly including humans. So dehumanizing. Using it can be dehumanizing. So to avoid this problem, as intricate and strange as it might be for you, Mr. Alien, Ampersand, he, she, they, it, not it, I mean he, she, they, Z, I don't know, other binary, non-binary ones. It, we can't use in this case. I felt like that would have made more sense and would have stuck back to the theme, and maybe this moment could have been more infused with the story to explain the implications of the pronoun it in this case, especially with what's going on politically. But I don't know. I'm rambling, and I made a goof just a minute ago. Anyway, let me know what you think. I was like, oh, this is great. Oh, this is great. By the end, I was annoyed by most of the book, except the senatorial hearing. I thought that part was interesting. And then, what happens with Kaveh is okay. Mixed bag. I will probably read the third one just to see how it ends, because I did like where this went, and hopefully by the third book we'll get things together and things can be really smooth, but it might still have the same voice, and I don't know, maybe these other quirks that annoyed me. Anyway, I'm going on too long. Bye.